Hi, my name is Sky, and this is my idea of Imperial Valley Chat, and my idea of how we can fix the Imperial Valley. Couple different things, different ways we can approach it. We have an incredible unemployment rate. We have all these farming communities, and farmland. We have this workforce that's imported from Mexico each day, and we have a lot of pollution. And we also have just people just thinking and looking at money and jobs and what can we do. We also have the housing problem. So all these different things, and I think I figured out some ways that we can make things work better. God, I wish I could run a radio station, and that way, like, just each day, just talk to the community and just help everybody figure it out. But for one, all right, so this casino wants to come in, and people are like, casino, millions of dollars. Um, and I go to the meeting for that, and it's just everybody who's they're focused about, the southern part of the county. They're not thinking about the wider area, and they weren't thinking about people who, go to Glamis or Cattle Call or, you know, just Mexican traffic, the Snowbirds and stuff like that. So I think that, if anything, regardless of whether Calexico gets a casino, and I'm fairly certain it's going to, what you want to do, in my opinion, is probably have the casino start small, start seeing what effect that's going to have on other parts of the businesses in Imperial County, and then just kind of let it grow from there. Um, because for one thing, we don't want a huge monstrosity of a thing that people don't like it. But on top of that, what you need to do right away is fix up Calexico. I think that just Imperial Avenue going through Calexico is just a ridiculous, you know, method of conveyance, through that community. In my opinion, it should be made into an expressway. So as soon as you come out of the border crossing, and if you can fix the border crossing, please, or talk to Mexico about, fixing their side. Um, but what you can do is just, after the vehicles come through the border checkpoint and come to that, first initial stoplight, so they can go left or right or straight. Um, from there, you have basically a half-mile expressway. So nothing there, just a kind of fenced-off area. And at the other end, at the half mile, you have a stoplight. So you have a big open space on both sides of this four-lane road going north and south. And off to the sides, you have businesses. I'm thinking on the west side, you have outside businesses, chain stores, places that basically would be open 24 hours a day. And you create a huge kind of parking lot area. You also make an agreement with those businesses saying that you guys will have a no impact or no environmental impact residue. So it's like basically they're going to have to build the building and tear it down and clean up the land before that land can be used by somebody else. The community, I think the county will always own that land or can tax that land. The other thing is that you can make it an enterprise zone, which is what Banning has. So you can get some federal funding and help with that. But you also have frontage roads in front of those. So you make it real easy for people in traffic to just get at the business of Calexico. You also make a nice little walking path, method. So ideally, you can have like a shuttle service, or my other idea of a trolley that connecting the Imperial Valley, and you have an arrangement so that people can go to Calexico, go to the casino, walk to the border, mess around in Mexico, come back, go back to the casino, go back to their community, like wherever they're camping out, their RV park and stuff like that. People that are just going to Mexico for whatever reason, you have this huge parking lot on the west side, and open and plenty of eyes looking at, so people can park there, and they're going to be hopefully not be too worried and concerned about people trying to steal their vehicles. And you have enough security cameras around, and enough police just walking around, because that's just where you make it an open space. People, the cops can see it. Right behind those businesses, you have low rent housing, apartment buildings. Now, like the one street that runs parallel to the border, um, right as you come out of the border. Yeah, that can be other local businesses for Calexico, but I think ideally you want it like there. That way, it's also real good for advertising because businesses don't need to advertise. All the local businesses are on the east side. It's also you make it within walking distance of the high schools, and you can basically just change the whole layout of Calexico from there. You put the low-rent housings, and then you have just your block, your layer of buildings that are civic-minded, so schools, city hall, other places like that. And as a result, I think that would just help the overall business of Calexico because then it's easier to get to go there and get through the border. And for people to go park their vehicles on the American side, walk to the Mexican side, get a taxi, and go around in there. Now the other thing is that you have to, in my opinion, improve El Centro as well. And really, regardless of what happens, the easiest, simplest way to fix El Centro is all the land between 4th Street and Imperial, or 8th Street and Imperial, you buy it up. It's right along the freeway. You just buy up that land, and you turn it into like Manning. You make it a enterprise zone. I think same thing along the side right next to the freeway, all outsider businesses, chain businesses. The other reason you have all the outsider businesses because basically that becomes a certain tax zone. So depending on how the local economy does, you can tax the foreigners a certain way. But also you want to encourage and to tell people, look, try to hire high school kids and have the high schools create work programs. So basically, good kids who just they want to start saving up money for college, they can go do those things. I think really that would just help, just everything in the Imperial Valley if you started having more of that consideration for that segment of the population. And that's why you make it within walking distance, so it's easier for the kids with no cars to get around. But the other aspect to the El Centro banning, idea is that because you also want to make it easier for truckers to get on it. So the next thing you'd want to do is, in my opinion, upgrade Imperial Avenue into an expressway, a highway, even into a full-on freeway, interstate, extension. And you can do that real easy just by submerging. How deep does the New River go? Just dig a pit that far down, and since there's only a couple, roads that go across that, area. So like Ross, Ocotillo, Hamilton, Maine, Adams, and then the rail tracks. And then after the rail tracks, have that spur return to the surface streets. What's along that Imperial Avenue? There's a couple commercial areas, but those areas have always been kind of suffering, and the road itself just kind of gets torn up because there's so much traffic going along it. People just want to get through. And there's the residential areas, which all those houses, you would want to push towards the west and just take up those houses and tear up the land and just kind of change some things have so that there's a surface road at the top, but you have a fence or a brick wall at the top of the pit that the freeway sits in. That keeps the heat and trash and noise trapped in there. You have some storm drains, stuff like that. It can all work out, but that way more truckers are going to drive through El Centro. More business, is going to go through El Centro. And if you have all the commercial areas located right within visible shot, it changes the face of El Centro. Listening to people talk about El Centro and make the community beautiful, invite people in, you got to change what people see. So, and I got some other ideas about how you can. I think you can work in a sort of trail walking path around El Centro. So that'll be another video.